What is going on, guys? Awesome for Pokepufs coming at you with another video. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about the market, and we're going to talk about some of the cards that we've picked up over the last couple of months and how they've done, just to kind of show you guys how we gauge and how we go about picking up some things whenever we're looking at things as an investment perspective. And then we're going to follow it up with some cards that we have picked up recently as well that we think are primed and ready to jump ahead, to give you guys just an idea of maybe some cards you haven't thought of, or some cards are going to be a little bit popular. They're definitely on people's radar, but I think they've fallen off a little bit with the more recent sets that have come out, and because of that, they are just primed and ready to explode. So with that, we'll go ahead and kick it off with some of the ones in the background here. We'll start off with the Megas. Everybody's well aware of how the Megas have been doing here. We'll start off with the Mega Blastoise. We picked this one up about $45, roughly 6 months ago. This one's floating around $80 now. We got the Mega Charizards. We got the pair here. We've got the small one. That one floated in, honestly, as early as June, I want to say, at like $36. And this one's all the way up to $54. And then, of course, we've got the big hitter, the gold secret Charizard. This was actually floating around $100 back in March, and it's already broken the $200 mark on multiple different sales as of August 4th. So those were definitely big pickups. We're looking forward for the turnaround on those with the new set. We picked them up because we anticipated Megas, of course. We just got a little bit ahead of the curve than everybody else. This is actually a fun one. I picked this up on a whim. I had a feeling that this was, like, even with all the Eevee hype and everything, this is the Sylveon EX from Generations. We were actually lucky enough to pick this up. We picked up two of them for a little over, I think, $35 a piece. Put that into perspective. This is floating around, I believe, $140 sailed each today. This was a very big one. It's a beautiful card. It's from a set that not a lot of people really honestly even know of, because it just kind of filtered through with everything else. And it is a little bit of an older set. I mean, not like super old, but at this point, 4 years old seems like it's insanely old for Pokemon. Some people I've even seen labeling 2020 as vintage, if you can believe that. We're actually going to skip from this side over to the Charizard EX, the XY promo. This was a fun one. I got this one. This was just a personal favorite of mine. It wasn't a super high card when I bought it. It was around the $46 range. I got it a little bit less because it is LP. I think I paid around $35. And this one is skyrocketed, guys. This one's $125 today. Market's going crazy. If you got the Flareon hiding here in the corner, the Magmar back up here in the top right, and of course the Charizard just takes the show of the card. Moving on to another very special one, the Lugia. We all know this one's exploding right along the Bubble Mew. I'll throw up a little icon over here for you, but we all know what this card's been doing. We know why I picked it up. I was lucky enough to get it before the boom, so as you know, the return is very high on that one. This Pikachu promo. This is a fun one. This is actually, I don't know if it's the only way that you can get it, but I know that the most popular way to get it, other than buying it by itself, is from a Team Up blister pack. It's an XY promo. So it's got Mimikyu back here in the background, and I actually picked up two of these as well. A shop had them, both of them, and I was able to grab both for $50. $25 a piece. They had them for $30 each. I got them for $25 a piece. This is sitting at $82 each today. It's a gorgeous card. I like the card. I figured other people were going to like the card. It's two of the most popular Pokemon, and the fact that it's got a little bit of a cameo in this, I figured it would be something everybody would enjoy. Moving on, we're going to take the Mewtwo promo here. We're lucky enough to grab one. Wish I could have grabbed more, but I haven't come across any that were still sealed. I prefer the promos if they're still sealed, but I mean, it's a caveat that you got to take with the market. Sometimes it's just hard to find things like the Mimikyu SIR right now, or the Mimikyu Full Art. It's really hard, at least in my experience, to find it still sealed because it's so playable. A lot of people gravitate more towards Crustle than Mimikyu, but if these get reintroduced, then Mimikyu is going to definitely steal the show, and that card's going to go skyrocketing. But that's for another video. Last card we have here for the current or past investments, current ones and upcoming ones are going to be next. We have the Flying Pikachu here. Flying Pikachu, I got this actually all the way back in April. So I got that along with the Surfing Pikachu, which I'll put right here. This is going to be featured alongside a few other ones for the what we expect to take off next. But the Flying Pikachu, we were able to pick it up back in April for about $30. It's not a massive ROI yet, but it is already sitting at $43 today. It's Pikachu. It's an older card. I mean, it's not like super old, but like I said, a lot of people would consider it vintage. So that's where we are with these. All in total, we paid, so that's $230. $230 that we have invested in everything you see here minus the Lugia. Just this card alone is 200. This card is 140. This card is 125. You get my picture. So with that said, let's go ahead and transition this into the cards that we think are going to be taken off next. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about some of the cards that I think are going to be, they're basically on a bounce back in my opinion. They started at a certain point, they rose up, and then after they rose up, they came back down, and now they're kind of floating in that weird space. So these are the cards that I think if you want to get your hands on before they kind of explode, now's the time to do it. With that said, we'll start it out with the Squirtle from Stellar Crown. This was an $80 card. I don't know if everybody remembers that, all the way back in January. It fell all the way down to about $45 back in May. Today, it's already back on the rise up to $45. It's a great card. It's an original 151. It's something that everybody loves. You're going to notice a theme with these first three cards. Second, we have the Wartortle from 151. This was actually all the way down to $20. It's a pretty card. I mean, obviously, it's a stage 1, so not one of everybody's favorites, but it's definitely one of the most beautiful arts. And because it just pairs so well with those three together with the Squirtle, the Wartortle, and then, honestly, I've even seen some people pairing this one specifically and leaving the Squirtle on the beach out. But this one was at 20. This one rose all the way up to 40 in May, and then dropped actually all the way back down to 20 as recently as June, and sits at $27 today. So it is already back up on the rise, because 151 is coming to that point where it's going to be completely out of circulation, at least based off of the history. Lastly, for the three, we're going to have the Blastoise from 151. It's a gorgeous card. We were lucky enough to pull it. We're going to be sending this because this was actually pulled on the first pack of 151 for us. So if nothing else, it's going to be graded for that reason. We need to get it sent because I'm tired of it being here. To the market component of it, it was $50 back in December. It actually jumped all the way up to 90 in May, fell down to 55 in June with the reprints, rumors, and everything of Surging Sparks and Prismatic. Nobody knew if 151 was going to kind of get thrown into that. And then it's actually all the way back up to $70 for a raw value today. So it is already back on the rise as well. That's kind of the theme right here with these ones. Like I said, they're on the rise. They've come into a price point where they're still manageable to be obtained. But before they kind of, if you want them, I would get them now. We have the Zapdos from 151. This was actually down to 37 back in December. It flew up all the way to 70 in May. I thought it was actually going to hold there just because it's got all three. The artwork's amazing and everything. And because it is from 151, but with how much circulation there was and demand, it did fall all the way back down to 40 in June. But it is up to $57 today. So like I said, it's on the rise. It's probably going to be about a $70, $80 card until we see another recirculation. Not of 151, but of Zapdos or the three, some kind of art of the three. There seems to be a bump whenever they release a new one. And lastly, for the FOMO version of it, we have the Charizard from Obsidian Flames. This is another one we were lucky enough to pull. It was $42 back in December. I know this is a set that not a lot of people love. I'm not really sure why. It's one of my favorites. It's not so much just because of Charizard. It's just I like the arts. And I mean, any set that's filled with Charizards, for somebody that grew up with the original 151, it's always a fun experience whenever you get to pull a Zard. But this was 42 back in December. It rose all the way up to 80 just before May, back down to 50, and then actually, so when I started making this video last night, it was at 50, but as of today, it is at $71. So other people are seeing this card for how I see it finally. I appreciate it, but it's going to make it a lot more hard to obtain for other people, of course. Moving on from that, this is the section where we will be getting into the cards that I think you guys should be targeting right now. These are cards that are on the lower end. There's a couple of them that are mid-tier pricing, but nothing that's like super eccentric like the Lugia or anything you see back here. These are cards that I could see potentially getting to that point in maybe 2-3 years, but even for the next, say, 6 months, I think are going to have a really good 30 to 40% ROI if you are looking to do in that aspect. That's the point of this channel. We are not biased. We play, we collect, we vend, we invest, we do every component of this hobby. We know that a lot of people just kind of focal point on one niche, but we want to incorporate with shops. We want to give people more product. We want to be involved in every way that we can with this hobby. It's an amazing hobby and an amazing community, and it's something that we're really looking forward to pushing forward as our main endeavor moving forward. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the cards I think you guys should be targeting first. We'll start off with a card you already saw, Sylveon Pikachu promo. Now, this is a fun one because the Flying Pikachu. This one was actually all the way down at $10 in April, along with that Flying Pikachu being around, I think, 15 or 20. This one is at $24 right now. So if it's any expectation for the Flying Pikachu, this in theory could be at 35 within the next month. So this is one that I recommend grabbing because everybody's chasing this one, but this one seems to be getting forgotten about. And as we know with this hobby, Cards don't get forgotten about for very long. Second, we're going to bring out the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. Now, this was a $44 when it came out. This actually rose all the way up to $103 as early as May. It's technically on the fall down. It's still dropping. It's at $51 now. We grabbed this at $60. We thought that this was an amazing card for $60. We don't really care where it lands, but we think that it could very well wind up back at $75, $80, especially with wintertime coming. Wintertime, cozy, Eevee, it just makes sense in our head. Next, we have some promos lined up. We'll start here with the Team Rocket Zapdos. So this was a GameStop exclusive. It's a GameStop promo. It started on release very recently at $40. It's been on the downward trend, but here's the thing. You can't get these anywhere else. And as we all know with this hobby right now, it's extremely hard to find product as it is because those that find product tend to buy a lot of it. But even those people are limited to one of these, in theory, if the stores are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Of course, you have to do with like backdooring and all that other stuff going on with the hobby right now. But my point is, these stamped cards specifically are going to be extremely hard to find because these ones are not going to get reprinted. These ones, once they're out, they're out. Like I went to my Best Buy to get this Zapdos specifically. I have 6 of them. Every time I went in there, I didn't care if it was a battle deck. I bought one just so I could get this promo because I knew that they were not going to have a lot of them, and I wanted to get as many as I could. With that said, this Zapdos card, it's the same thing. It started at $30. It's down to $20 now. Grab it while you can because this was actually way harder to find than the Articuno, and right now their price points are about the same. Bring out the Articuno. This was for the Destined Rivals release. This was available at Best Buy. This card started at $20. It dropped down to $15. I haven't seen any in the wild, so I'm not sure if people were trading them or what was going on, but this is sitting at $21 today. It's already back up on the rise. I think people understand the set is, it might get released in waves with the reprints and everything, but people have already moved on from Black and White already from Megas, let alone Destined Rivals. Next, we are going to go a little bit further back to a set that actually bit a lot of people in the butt. I was thankful for it because we were able to snag up a lot of stuff that people unloaded because they didn't know what they had. We have the Ends Reshiram from Journey Together. It is the stamped promo. This released at $10 and actually sat at $10 for quite a while because there was so much available that we're still seeing some on the shelves even now. But here's the thing. These were only available with the stamp if you got them from the Pokemon Center. We don't tend to see that kind of circulation in the Pokemon Center when the market is at where it is. And people are not exactly demanding for more Journey Together. So my thought process is, this is another one. I've been buying it as much as I possibly can. Every time I see it, I saw a shop, they opened 3 ETBs just so they could have single packs in store, and they had these sitting on the shelf. I've snagged all 3 of them. This one specifically, like I said, it's gone up to all the way up to $25 in July. I think some people were kind of getting the same idea as I was, but it's back down to $15 as of today. So if you missed out before it started rising up, just so you know, this card is back down, and I would recommend getting as many as you can as fast as you can. We'll go ahead and bring out the last promo. This Charmander, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to it at all, but this has actually gone up recently this week specifically. Ignore this here. This was just like a sleeve that I put it in. This is from the Scarlet and Violet promo. It actually released at only $6. People weren't super excited about this one because it was pretty obtainable for the most part. But as the set has not really seen light outside of like maybe Pokeballs, and you're not finding this in those, yeah, it rose all the way up to $29 in May, but it did have a little bit of a downtick, so we grabbed a couple of them when it dropped down to 20 in June. Unfortunately, it is all the way back up to 29, so it is at an all-time high. I don't think it's going to slow down, so if you see this in the wild, I do recommend grabbing it. These last 2 cards, these are kind of my, if you see these, buy as many as you can. These cards are buy now, buy now, buy now, in my opinion. Main reason for that is they are extremely playable, which means that they can contest and hold their value throughout that time that they are in circulation with the TCG. They aren't necessarily part of the meta right now, but all it takes is 1 or 2 cards to be introduced and the entire meta changes overnight. We saw that recently with Genesect. It came into the circulation with the new Black and White, and with its specific ability, it brought Goldango back to the forefront of the TCG. With that said, we'll go ahead and show you what they are. We have the Iron Valiant. I know this card got a lot of love when it came out, and it got a lot of love for a long time. This card was actually below $50 for the first time since December of last year right now. And most of that time, it was well over $75. It's extremely playable. This ability makes it, it's very it's a base Pokemon. It can fit into and plug into a whole bunch of decks if you want to utilize it. It's just because of the current rotation, it's not in the top meta. That's basically all it is, but it's 1 or 2 cards away from being so. I recommend getting this. It stood at the forefront. It was a top chase for so long. It's from a set that for Paradox Rift that we don't hear anything about anymore. So I don't think it's going to get reprinted. I could easily see this being a $100 card by Christmas if we get. It depends on the rotation with the megas. It depends on what happens with the current or with the upcoming releases. That's all. And the last card of the video, we have Roaring Moon. Or excuse me, this card is not from Paradox Rift. That was this one. We have Roaring Moon. This one is the one from Paradox Rift. We don't ever see this one. We don't see this getting reprinted anytime soon. This was well over $50 since last summer. It's only been under $50 this month. It just broke under 40 and currently sits at 38. This is extremely playable. I don't know if you can really read it, but for only 3 energy, you can knock out your active Pokemon of the opponent. Endgame, this is extremely broken, especially if you pair it with something like Grimmsnarl, where you can bring energies to the field up to 5 simply by bringing Grimmsnarl to the field. And then you use something like Chansey or Energy Switch, and you have a free knockout. It's that simple. You pair this with something like Togekiss, or there's a lot of different ways that you can utilize this. It's a top Pokemon. It's a lovable Pokemon. It's always going to be a top Pokemon. It's held its value for a very long time, and it's the lowest point that it's ever been. So with that said, these are the cards that we recommend, guys. We don't recommend you spending more than you can afford to lose, of course. In essence, it is a gamble, essentially, to be looking at Pokemon cards as an investment. It'd be the same thing as looking at it with the stock market, in our opinion. Never buy anything you're not willing to lose. But yeah, guys, that's going to be the video. We appreciate it. Like and subscribe. It's a huge help to the algorithm. We're on our way to 1,000. We're trying to get monetized and to add that to another layer of this journey of Pokemon that we're on together. Thank you so much, and let us know what you think.